Hello dear students, welcome to Andhra Pradesh Commissionerate of Collegiate Education LMS portal. I am Dr. Sichi Devi, lecturer in zoology from SKR and SKR Government College for Women Autonomous Kadapa. In this video lesson, let us learn the topic Management of Broilers, Layers and Broilers. Coming to the learning objectives of this lesson, by seeing the video presentation, we are going to learn the definition of poultry, definition of growers, layers and broilers, management practices adopted in a poultry farm like housing, debeaking, deworming, feeding and watering, culling and vaccination. So these are the management practices you are going to learn in a poultry farm for growers, layers and broilers. First of all, let us know the introduction of poultry. Rearing of commercially important birds like chicken, ducks and turkeys is called as poultry. Poultry farming is a profitable industry when taken up either on a large scale or on a small scale. 4 types of birds are grown in poultry, like chicks, growers, layers and broilers. Principles of management change slightly based upon the nature of the birds grown in the farm. Coming to the management of growers, period after brooding till sexual maturity is called as growing period. Commercially, 9 to 18 weeks age-old birds are called growers. This period is very crucial because faulty management may lead to under or overweight, lack of uniform growth, delayed maturity, prolapse, cannibalism and high mortality. That is why care should be taken for growers in the poultry farm. Let us see the list of management practices adopted for growers in a poultry farm. Proper cleaning and disinfection of grower house is needed before introducing the grower birds in a poultry farm. Sufficient floor space for feeding and watering is to be provided. Feeder space for each bird is 2.6 inches, whereas 1 inch of water space is required. In case of deep litter system, litter material is spread to a height of 4 inches. Feeders and waterers are arranged in a grower house. Cool, clean water and clean equipment are very essential. Feeders and waterers are changed according to the need. Balanced diet with 5 to 10% fiber, proper vitamins and minerals is provided. Restricted feeding program should be adopted during growing period to prevent fattening of pullets. Pullets means birds, and early sexual maturity, and thus for improved egg production and decreased feed cost. Good litter management should be followed to avoid diseases like coccidiasis. In case of open house system, only 12 hours lighting program is sufficient. So in case of open sheds, 12 hours lighting is sufficient. There is no need for artificial light here. Uniformity of the flock is maintained. So no new birds should be introduced in the middle of the duration. So all the birds in the flock should be of same age. Uniformity of the flock is very important. Sample weights are taken once in a week to find out the average body weight as per the breeder suggestions. Weaker birds are identified and separated to save feed and survivability of healthier birds. Recommended vaccination, medication and other management programs like deworming, debeaking, etc. should be followed strictly for the broilers. So according to the schedule, vaccination should be given to the broilers. To remove the helminth parasites from the digestive tract, deworming has to be carried out. And debeaking should also be done to avoid pecking of the birds. In debeaking, 1/3 of the upper part of the beak is removed to avoid the cannibalism in the flock. So all this should be maintained in the management of broilers. Debeaking is repeated at 12th to 14th week of age. Deworming is done at 8th and also 16th to 18th weeks of age. So these are the management practices to be taken care of in a poultry farm for management of broilers. Now let us see the management of layers. 20 to 75 weeks of sexually mature female birds producing eggs are called layers. South to southeast facing houses are suitable for layers to get morning sunlight. In our country, open-sided poultry houses are also popular. Nowadays, cage rearing is also practiced. The floor of the cage should be slopy and 1 meter higher than the ground to collect the droppings. Proper cleaning and disinfection of layer house is to be attended. Light period is increased from 22nd week onwards at the rate of 15 to 30 minutes per week, so as to reach 16 hours by 33rd week. Light period increases egg production by stimulating gonadotropin hormones. Broody hen is identified in the flock. Broody, you can see the broody hen here. So broody hen is the hen which wants to sit and incubate the eggs. So that type of broody hen should be identified and separated. A broody hen is a chicken that has decided to incubate a clutch of eggs by sitting on them all the day long. This broodiness can be avoided by providing diet containing more protein, vitamins, minerals, by providing proper floor space, feeding and water space, both in deep litter and cage systems. The broodiness in the layers can be avoided. In the deep litter system, floor space of 2 square feet per bird and feeding space of 5 inches per bird are to be provided. Whereas in cage system, a floor space of 18 inches into 15 inches is provided per cage, having 4 birds. Linear feeder of 6 feet height can be used for every 30 layers, or 4 to 5 circular feeders of 18 inches diameter may be arranged for every 100 birds. So in this slide, you can see a broody hen as well as a linear feeder which is providing the feed to the layers. One plastic waterer of 18 inches diameter is arranged for every 50 birds. Litter material is spread up to 6% 6 inches thickness in case of deep litter system. So litter is the material which contains a rice husk, sawdust, and that is spread on the floor of the house. Grill size may be changed according to the size of the bird's head in case of cage system. A nest box for every 5 layers is provided about a week before the first egg is laid. There are 3 types of nests in the layer houses. One individual nest is sufficient for one nest box with 4 to 5 birds. Community nest accommodates 50 to 60 birds. Trap nest accommodates 1 bird at a time and is used for academic and breeding studies. So, trap nest is usually used for academic and breeding studies. The nest should be provided with litter material so that the eggs breakage will not occur. The litter material has to be replaced at least once in a week to prevent contamination of the eggs. During night hours, the nest should be closed to prevent sitting of the birds in the nest. In deep litter system, the litter material should be racked in the evening daily after egg collection is over. So that means in the evening, the litter material should be gathered in the evening daily after egg collection. The litter should be treated chemically at least once in a month to avoid wet litter problem and to prevent ammonia emission in the farmhouse. So wet litter may leads to the diseases in the flock. That is why the litter should always be maintained dry. Well balanced layer mash with ample calcium supplement is provided in the feed. Layer mash is usually provided to the birds of 18 to 22 weeks. Phase feeding may be followed for layers according to age, level of production, and climatic factors. The average feed consumption during laying period ranges from 100 to 110 grams per bird. Feed consumption increases during winter and decreases during summer. Summer and winter management should be followed for better flock productivity. Deworming should be done regularly so as to remove the helminth parasite from the digestive tract of the birds. And deworming is done at an interval of 6 to 8 weeks depending on the worm load, especially in the deep litter system. Eggs are collected at least 5 times a day in the deep litter system and twice a day in the cage system. Unproductive layers, that means those layers which are not laying the eggs, are separated regularly. So these are the practices to be adapted in the layer management in order to obtain maximum egg production and profit. Now let us see the management of broilers in the poultry farm. What are broilers? The term broiler is applied to chicks that have especially been reared for rapid growth. Broilers are the most preferred chicks under meat category of the poultry. Marketing is not a big problem because of demand and sponsoring from private companies. A broiler is a young chicken of below 8 weeks of age with a tender and soft meat. Today, our India is the largest producer of broiler meat in the world with an annual production of 2.47 million metric tons. Coming to the management practices to be implemented for getting high yields are as follows. The house should be in east to west direction to reduce the effect of direct sunlight. In the first week of broilers, 95 degrees Fahrenheit is quite comfortable. Slowly, it should be reduced at the rate of 5 degrees Fahrenheit per week until it reaches 7 degrees Fahrenheit in the 6th week. Good aeration, that is good ventilation, is very important to drive out ammonia that is released from the bird droppings. This is important to avoid suffocation of the birds. So good ventilation or aeration is very important to drive out the ammonia and also to provide good oxygen supply to the birds. For lighting, 60-watt bulb per 200 square feet floor space must be arranged. 1 square feet per bird floor space is required in case of broilers. Debeaking is carried out on for 1-day-old birds so as to prevent the cannibalism. Healthcare for broilers is also very important and poultry must be started with disease-free chicks. Birds are vaccinated against Marek's disease on the first day at the hatchery. Ranicate disease. Ranicate disease vaccine is given at 4 to 5 days. Drugs are to be mixed with feed to prevent coccidiasis, a deadly intestinal disease. So drugs or medicines are mixed with feed in order to prevent the coccidiasis. Broilers are fed with starter mash and finish mash. Starter mash is given up to 5 weeks and the starter mash contains 23 to 24% proteins. Whereas from 6th week onwards, broiler finish mash is given to the birds. The finish mash contains 20 to 21% proteins. Feed must be free from aflatoxins. Aflatoxins are the toxins produced by Aspergillus fungi. So feed must be free from the aflatoxins to avoid the diseases in the birds. The floor is covered with 3-inch deep clean litter at least after each cycle. Dead birds are either burnt or buried deep in the ground in order to prevent spread of diseases. Birds can be marketed at 6 to 8 weeks old. Feeders and waterers are removed to prevent bruises during catching up the birds in the poultry farm. So while catching, feeders and waterers are to be removed so as to prevent injuries to the birds. Birds are to be protected from extreme weather conditions during transport. Suguna, Coimbatore, VHL, Pune, Pioneer, Promark, etc. are some of the important private companies involved in contract with farmers of broilers. So my dear students, these are the management practices to be adopted for growers, layers and broilers in a poultry farm. By following these principles, the farmer can obtain good results and make profit. I hope you understood the topic well. Thank you for watching.